I know you personally as a friend, but share your awesome story about how you got to creating the #1 motivation website in the world with over 100 million views to date.
Wow. Dude, you know, when you say that, when you say close to 100 million views, I mean, for me, that just blows my mind. It still blows my mind, right? Because I was a little over 5 years ago now. I was feeling down and out. I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. I was working in a sales company. I was really good at it. I got promoted a bunch of times. And I actually was asked to go and do a training session with Jordan Belfort, who's the Wolf of Wall Street. Not Leonardo DiCaprio, right? The original Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah. And so I remember being in a room with him and him standing in front of me going, you know, what are you good at? What are your strengths? What solution are you bringing to the world? What is your 10-year vision for success? What are your goals? Like, he was just challenging me on the spot. And so for me, it was like, I had no idea because I never got clear myself on what it is that I needed to do to move in a better direction. I was just moving in a direction. I didn't know what level I wanted to play at, and I was very vague with my life. And so this allowed me to create a clarity game plan to really cast a 10-year vision for success. And what I discovered was, as I was writing out on those pages, you know, what I was excited about for the future and what possibilities there could be with just like no limit way of thinking, I was getting more and more excited. And I wrote like 6 pages long, and he got me to stand up in front of everybody and share, you know, what my 10-year vision is. And yeah, I just remember that day in that room, I just had this like, not just a mental shift, but an emotional shift. And I was like, this is it. Like, I've really pinpointed the thing that I'm good at, computers and marketing. I was pretty good at it because I used to work in the music industry, and I used to, you know, get a lot of exposure, and I was very resourceful, and I organized a lot of deals that took place. So I was successful in that. What I loved was reading, you know, your Tony Robbins books and your Brian Tracy books and Jack Canfield and so on. So self-development was my thing, and the solution was I loved sharing my advice with others, sharing the knowledge. And, you know, I found in that intersect between those 3 things was really my purpose. And I started living in my purpose. And, you know, there's something amazing about living in your purpose. There's just so much energy around it. And it also inspires others in the process to want to help you, to want to work with you, and to want to share your message with the world. And that's why, you know, we've reached close to 100 million views. It's just, that's it, man. That's the formula.
It's an incredible number. Yeah. I think when a lot of people look at Joel Brown today, they see a good-looking, successful guy who makes it look easy. You know what I'm saying? You make it look easy, but knowing you personally, I know your past. I know it wasn't always that way. So share a little bit about some of the things that, going back maybe to high school, because I know that was an interesting time for you, high school and college.
It definitely was. You know, just on that point, I had somebody not long ago say to me, you know, Joel, it looks like you have such a fun life. It looks so easy. And I'm like, are you kidding me? A fun life, easy? I'm like, you know what? Most days I'm working my ass off. I'm working hard, or I'm working very smart and being very strategic about what it is that I need to do. But this is the thing, because I work hard for my goals and for my vision, the time that I get to have fun, it's 10 times better than it ever would have been because I put that work in. Because a lot of people live their life just kind of just getting by and just living in the comfortable zone, and I'm not about that. You know, all the amazing things in my life that have come about, opportunities and amazing people that have come about, is because I've stepped outside into the growth zone and pushed myself each and every day. I put myself on the line. So that's really an important thing to remember when you're chasing your dreams and your visions. You've got to get uncomfortable.
Like me, you weren't always confident and well-spoken. So go back to that place, because I know in high school and college for myself, I'm not the person who I am today. And I know that you weren't either. So go back to high school or college, around that age where maybe you weren't as confident as you are now, or well-spoken or successful. What was the thing that sparked a change in you that led you on the path to where you are now?
Yeah. You know, back in high school, I was beat up pretty bad. You know, I was bullied throughout high school. I actually was a great student up until maybe year 9, year 10, and then the bullying started. And so I hated injustice. I learned kickboxing and capoeira as well, the Brazilian martial art. So I was like really confident in myself on like protecting and defending myself. And I started sticking up for people that were getting bullied. And it turned around on me, and all of a sudden I was a challenge for these bullies at school. And so I got jumped, I got my face punched in, and teeth broken, and my white school shirt was covered in blood. And I hated the world. You know, I was at a point where I was embarrassed of being beat up in front of everybody. And I went back to school. I ended up leaving, you know, because it just continued. And that was the decision there where am I going to continue to go down the path of this is like, you know, unfair and like, why me? Or do I discover like, what is something that really lights me up? And I chose the better path. I chose music, and I went all in. I was a DJ and a radio host for one of the top hip hop and R&B stations in Western Australia at the time. I leveraged off that. I started interviewing some of the most successful recording artists, and then we scored a deal, which was like under a subsidiary of Atlantic Records, and I moved out to Miami and lived there. Bottom line, I wasn't happy after a while in the music industry. It just wasn't for me. There were these little, what I call whispers of wisdom that were coming up. It was these little signs, and I just kept remembering. My mom gave me Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that book from Robert Kiyosaki, when I was 13 years old. And a lot of it went over my head, you know, at a young age. But there was this one paragraph that really resonated with me and helped me to understand what it means to be an entrepreneur. And so that paragraph said, you don't have to work for money, you can make money work for you. So for me, it's this like nagging thing, this nagging feeling for like years that was in me, and it was just like it wouldn't give up. Like your purpose, your gifts, they get frustrated when you're not letting them out.
I want to be out there. I want to talk on that in a second. We're here with Joel Brown. I'm Mark Lack from CEO of Shorten the Gap. Inspire, inform, and connecting a community of entrepreneurs. This is Business Rockstars, here with Joel Brown from Ridiculous Success. So share with me a little bit about what you were just talking about there, about passion and inspiration and how that plays a role in your success now, because from the past, it's not always something that you had. So today, what really inspires you and keeps you passionate about having a website that's already got 100 million views?
Such a great question. You know, in the beginning, it was to make money. Right? And for a lot of people, they feel guilty of that. It's like the elephant in the room. It's like, come on, let's get real. Why do you really want to start this business? Do you want to make a ton of money, and then you want to then use that money to travel or to leave your day job, whatever it is? Like, don't feel guilty about that, because it's going to evolve. You're going to grow with it. And so for me, it was making money. When I made enough money to go in and tell my pain in the ass boss it's costing me too much to be here, and basically fired my boss and left, I remember that feeling that day. Like it was like it's so classic. Like
what did that feel like?
Oh my God, man! It was like moving into the light. It was like moving into a new direction. That was like stepping into your vision and knowing that there were no bars held. It was just, that's it. I can deep dive into my vision now because I have more time for it. And so it's important to hold that thought and remember that, because some people, what they do is they get so used to their lifestyle as an entrepreneur and they start becoming complacent, right? And so for me, it's like, I always go back to that feeling of like, I remember how I felt that day. I'm going to deep dive into my vision every day. I'm going to swim in it as often as possible, because that's what kept me alive. That's what helped me to become successful in what I do. So yeah, it was money, then it was about freedom. And then I realized when I had freedom, I had more time to create. I had more time to create. I was able to expand and really amplify the message that I had for the world. And now what I've shifted into as I've evolved as a person, as my business has evolved, it's about contribution. And so what I used to go for with freedom was happiness. I want to be happy, 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 happy. But what's more important than happiness is what I call holiness. I read it in a book somewhere. It vibes so well with me that it's like holiness. Go for that. Holiness is coming from a place of service. I used to hear all the time, the more people you help, the more you get back yourself, and so on, right? It was like, yeah, I get it. But now I really.
We're going to go into the 60-second CEO here just to get to learn a little bit more about you in a unique way. So when I ask you the question, just fire off the first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's go. Who is your favorite entrepreneur?
Elon Musk.
What is your favorite book?
Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk.
If you had one superpower, what would it be?
X-ray vision.
So who's your favorite superhero?
Superman.
We get that all the time. If you were an animal, what animal would you be?
A lion.
Lion. What do you like to do to unplug?
I hit the gym. Fitness, working out. That's what I do to unplug.
What keeps you up at night?
My vision.
If you could go anywhere in the world, where would it be?
The Swiss Alps.
The last thing you do before bed?
Meditate.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve would have to be when I have to repeat myself over and over again.
All right, well, here's our last question. Describe yourself in one word.
Courageous.
Courageous. Awesome, brother. Well, I know that that's actually true. Courageous is definitely a word to describe you. So, one of the things that I know and I love about you is you're so passionate about talking about why vision boards suck. And it's one of your most viewed pieces of content.
Yeah.
So why don't you share with us, A, what is a vision board, and B, why do vision boards suck?
Yeah, vision boards are really, like a map for you, and they're great. They're great. They're just not amazing. And what I mean by this is that yes, you've got your vision board here, which is like a whiteboard, wherever it is, a corkboard, and you cut out pictures from the internet or from a magazine, and you pin it on that board.
Things you want to have, the way I want my body to look, the car I want to have, right?
It's there for you to really like see a visual of it. And so my beef with vision boards is, look, they're great and it's good as a starting point, but I know a lot of people that they create these vision boards and then they hang it up on the wall and they walk past it, week by week. That's it, they forget about the vision board.
They think it's magically going to appear, right?
Yeah, exactly. It kind of makes them feel like they've already achieved it because they see it. What is more powerful than a vision board is moving away from that crutch of relying on the vision board and actually practicing the art of visualization. So when you practice the art of visualization, you actually start to build this self-reliance and this belief within yourself, which you can carry everywhere with you. You don't have to cart a vision board like this around everywhere you go. It's here in your head. You practice it, rehearse it over and over again. And what happens is when you practice it over and over again, it's crazy how the brain works. It actually starts to reconfigure itself to serve you in that way, to make your reality align with the visions that you've been thinking of, right?
So how can somebody take what you're talking about and implement this in their life?
Great question. Start with a vision board, get a good idea of the visuals. If you're not a very visual person, some people just aren't, but practice this. Practice really visualizing what it is that you want to achieve. Don't fill it with 20, some people just fill the vision boards like 50 different things. Focus on a few for now.
They see it as like an art project.
Oh yeah, it looks cool, but it's going to be hard to achieve if you just flood it. So really it's just practicing visualizing it, and I like to sit and really close my eyes. It sounds super cheesy, super corny, but sitting and closing your eyes and really feeling it in your body. When you make that emotional connection with it,
that's huge.
It fires you up. It's like jumping on an airplane, right? People get nervous before they get on an airplane because they're visualizing it over and over again, them being on the plane might go down, whatever it is, right? Some people are super sensitive to flying. And so that's how powerful the brain is that you can actually trick your body and yourself to thinking that this is reality when in fact it's not. You're just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So how about you start thinking of thoughts that are going to empower you to achieve your vision? Right? No picture on the internet or no magazine clipping is going to be as powerful as the thoughts that are in your mind.
Yeah.
You look at somebody like Walt Disney, he imagined Disney World before it even came. And he was rejected hundreds of times, by the banks. So,
I think so many people make the mistake of thinking that just looking at something and not emotionalizing it is going to trigger them. And I think that's the distinction that you're making here is visualize and feel the emotion of what it would be like to already have the achievement of that thing on your vision board. And that emotion will compel you to take action more so than just looking at a picture, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Now on the head, man. Yeah.
Awesome. So I want to know some of the tips that you have for becoming an influential leader. I mean, you're obviously somebody who's, an influential leader. You've got over 100 million views. You've got so many people following you. Millions of people see your content on a monthly basis with the ticket to success. What are some of your tips to becoming a better influential leader?
You have to go first. If you want to, the highest level of inspiration is to stand up and take the action so that others can see that, whoa, this is possible. It's immersing yourself in the possibility of something happening. Getting good at going first, being the person that immerses yourself in that. And then what I would like to focus on as well, if you don't mind, is really 4 dimensions of success, which I touch on quite a lot with my mastermind groups and those that I coach, is really, I've interviewed hundreds of successful people. What I've discovered
You've interviewed, by the way, just for people listening, I know, because I want them to know, you haven't just interviewed people, you've interviewed the best. Tony Robbins, Deepak Chopra, and so many people that fall into that category.
Yeah.
So go on from there, because you really are incredible, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
So lay it down. What are these 4 dimensions that people can learn from?
Yeah, so the 4 dimensions are your values. You gotta get clear on what your values are, what you value most. What you spend most of your time thinking about, you love talking to other people about, that you spend most of your money on, that you would read a book about, what you could even write a book about. They're like your top values, right? And really find your top 3 values and live by them, right? Okay,
so number 1 is values.
Values, then you got beliefs. Right? Believing that it's actually possible. It's the mindset part of it all. And you want to tie those 2 together. So your values and your beliefs just drive every decision that you make.
Okay.
And then next is habits, right? The little energy bolts of action, the consistency that you take every day, and the persistency to get closer to your goals and dreams. And last but not least is your skills. And so your skills really are, are you able to do this? I like to say your beliefs, habits, and skills, ready, willing, and able. beliefs, habits, skills. Right? Just think about that, because really, if you can focus on those areas, this is where you become an unstoppable human being. These people that I interview, I've discovered, they're not all saying the same thing, but I always listen for the underlying thing that they're saying. And really what it is that they believe in themselves, they put the habits in place, they do the unsexy, uncool things, with just the actions over and over again, which people just don't like, but really that's what gets you to where you need to be. And they've acquired the skills. If they don't have the skills themselves or haven't learned it themselves, they'll hire a team of people that have those skills to build the business to the level that they want to achieve that business success at.
We're here with Joe Brown from addictedtosuccess.com. I'm Mark Black, CEO of Shorten the Gap. Inspire, inform, and connecting a community of entrepreneurs. This is Business Rockstars. Why don't you go over a little recap for us of what are those 4 Ds, just to recap and simplify.
Yeah, 4 dimensions are values, beliefs, habits, and skills.
How have those things impacted your success?
Oh, dramatically. Once I discovered it and started, because there's nothing that I teach that I haven't already put into practice myself first.
I think that's so important too.
So important. Yeah. So incredibly
You're not
important.
just talking about
it's
it,
like textbook stuff.
You've benefited from it, and then you're sharing what actually works from experience.
Yeah. Look, I always check back in. Am I really applying the values, beliefs, habits, and skills? Whenever I feel like I'm hitting a bit of a challenge or a hurdle, I always check back in. Here's the thing too about learning all this new knowledge. There's 3 levels of learning. So it's like learning itself, which is reading and acquiring knowledge. Okay. The second level is understanding. Understanding is when you can teach others about the knowledge that you have. And the third level is wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge applied. And that is the ultimate level of learning and understanding.
What's some of the best wisdom that you've learned from other incredible mentors that I know you've been around?
To be honest, everyone that I interview and I find like, wow, that's a powerful lesson, I always sit with it. I like to meditate a lot, right? So I go and sit after I hear this from a mentor or somebody I've interviewed like Tony Robbins or Grant Cardone or Gary Vaynerchuk. And I'll sit with it and really like close my eyes and go deep and just focus on that one question, right? One lesson, and see how I can tie it into my life. Like, where have I applied that before? How can I apply that now if I haven't already applied it? And then what I do is I either draw off that and go, okay, yes, I've learned a lesson here, the penny dropped. Or I go, okay, I haven't learned that lesson yet. Now I'm going to be conscious of going out and tying that to something in my everyday life so I can learn from it, so I can grow even more. It's being committed to growth, man. It's being addicted to success.
That's right. One of the things that stood out to me that you just said was meditation. And I think maybe some of the entrepreneurs tuning in right now maybe have a negative association to the word or the act of meditation. Could you explain what is meditation for you and how has it benefited you? And ultimately, how can it benefit somebody who's maybe not meditating? Because I myself didn't always meditate, and I do. So going back to you, how important is meditation and how can somebody benefit from that?
Yeah. First, I'd say don't knock something that you haven't tried. Second, I'd say most people give up on meditation because the start is always tough to get into.
With anything, right?
With anything, right? But meditation gets better and better the more you do it. And so meditation, you can Google it. There's so many benefits for meditation. I just found that, after interviewing hundreds of these successful people, I discovered patterns, and I found that meditation just kept popping up. It was insane. Even some people that I never thought would meditate, they meditate. Or they do some form of it. It could be prayer, it could be sitting and doing like a visualization exercise, or just sitting and focusing on the breath. It could be like transcendental meditation with a mantra. Whatever it is, they find a way to close off the senses and really unplug and let their mind recalibrate. And so when you shift into more of a conscious state, that's when you can really check in on yourself and realize like, wow, this is what I'm doing. And you can ask yourself important questions in those moments, which could change your life forever. A lot of people act unconsciously and like robots, just walking around like this, like through life, and wondering why things are happening to them.
And hoping their vision board will come to reality.
Exactly, you got it.
Yeah. I think something that was inspiring to me was finding out that, incredible mentors and influential leaders like Oprah and Steve Jobs and so many Fortune 500 CEOs and all these incredible entrepreneurs, Tony Robbins, all of these people that I know, maybe I'm speaking for myself, but that I look up to as role models and mentors, they all meditate.
Yes.
And so it's something that I began to model or copy because I see other people benefiting from it. And so what is one simple thing that somebody can do to meditate? And maybe that's not the right word, but right, what's something simple, like you said, breathing? What's a simple act somebody can do to control how they feel throughout the day?
Yeah, always go back to the breath. Focus on the breath. As adults, if you're an adult, I think children, babies wouldn't be watching this right now, but think about it, when a baby's brought into this world, it's like a perfect breather. just breathes perfectly, right? And so for us, as we go through life and we have these limiting beliefs and we have these stresses and you know, might have health problems and so on, we start to lose our breath. And we don't focus on it. We're shallow breathers and we're anxious breathers and our shoulders are uptight. And so it's really important to have that time to really wind down, to reconnect with yourself and focus on your breath. And when you focus on your breath, when you can slow your breath down, you slow your heart rate down. And your mind slows down too, and it gives itself a chance to really recalibrate and for the stuff to float to the surface.
Breathing is really important, but you're so full of wisdom and knowledge and experience because you're in the space of personal development. I want to know, if you've got 30 seconds left to live, what is your 30-second speech that you want to leave people with?
Oh,
Entrepreneurs and wantrepreneurs.
This is a question I ask every
I know it is.
guest.
That's why I'm copying your question, because it's so powerful.
Love it. Be courageous. Know that you already have it in you to bring forth the gifts and the purpose that you're here and designed to bring to the world. Know that no matter what you do, no matter what space you play in, everything is perfect. But you have to believe first that you're worthy of great things in this world, and you're worthy to play your part in this world, because everyone here is put on this earth for a reason. Believe in what it is that you have within you and bring it forth with no bars held, and be unapologetic and courageous in all your attempts in life.
Woo! Joel Brown from Addicted to Success. Thanks, brother. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Those are some great tips.